What's going on? I got to ask the interesting question. If it weren't for Tom Brady, which quarterback would have benefited the most? So, Tom Brady won his 7 rings, went to 10 Super Bowls, dominated the AFC because as a Buffalo Bills fan, I know about the AFC. Hell, he did. And then went over to Tampa Bay and won a ring. Pandemic year, won. Won in both conferences. Left no doubts about his greatness as one of the true greatest players ever. Some think he's the GOAT, some the quarterback. However you want to call it. One of the greatest athletes all across sports, dominance. He camped out over half his career battling for a championship. Let that sink in because we didn't even talk about the AFC Championship games that he lost, but the guy was camping out for chips. When you go to 10 in a 20 plus year career and those games you didn't win, think about half his career. Amazing. But what quarterback would have benefited if it wasn't for Tom Brady? Which quarterback benefited the most if it wasn't for Tom Brady during when he played? You can almost make a case for Patrick Mahomes because remember that AFC Championship game in Arrowhead, and then of course the Super Bowl. So that's two right there. Because think about it, Mahomes is 3-2 already in the Super Bowl. Believe it or not, a guy who's already considered, in my personal opinion, one of the 3 greatest quarterbacks that's ever lived. When you consider his success totality, and when you add all the numbers and everything, he think about it. Was no Brady, he might have been in 7 Super Bowls. We don't know what that would have meant. So think about that for a moment, because I know the obvious ones are gonna come at me and say Peyton Manning. I'm gonna get to that in a little bit, but think about it. He caught Mahomes, kept him out at the end of the career. So imagine that. To think about it, that's a heck of a statement about Brady's dominance and impact. That Mahomes, who, spite of, has had incredible run. Think about it. That's that's a pretty huge statement in itself. So that's the one that comes to mind immediately. Peyton Manning, of course, because Peyton regular season, incredible run. His Super Bowl losses to Seattle and to New Orleans. He's 2-2 in Super Bowl, lackluster performances. But if you go by regular season performances, you'd say he's top 3 ever as far as a quarterback. If we go by regular season, we don't talk about the postseason. He's top 2, 3. You know, and there was no Brady. With the way the offense was going for the Colts, and you know, I mean, there's no Belichick's defense, but there's no Brady on the other side. Tony Dungy might be walking around with a handful of rings. I mean, it's hard. He comes to mind. It comes to mind. Definitely. Definitely. Um, if it wasn't for Tom Brady, who else might come to mind? Some might say Aaron Rodgers, but aside from that NFC Championship game, Brady never really got in Aaron Rodgers' way. Aaron Rodgers was his own worst enemy. But, now, being Roethlisberger, that's obvious more than Aaron Rodgers because the Steelers had great talent. They had great teams, and they kind of underachieved. He went to 3 Super Bowls and 2 out of 3, and Roethlisberger had a great career. And I would argue and debate he might be the greatest Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback ever. I'd make that strong case. But if there is no Brady, how much further would his career been? Because multiple wins. And think about it. I mentioned guys who won multiple rings during Brady being there. Mahomes, Peyton Manning, and Roethlisberger. So, because Brady got in the way of the early bit of run with Mahomes. But Mahomes still ran off other things, but still. But the Peyton Manning, the Ben Roethlisberger, you can definitely see those guys that were, because how much more would they have won? And I'm just mentioning that, yeah, because they were in the same conference division. And I'm trying to think if there's anybody else because it'd be hard, obviously. I mean, you might make a nod for Phillip Rivers, but I'm talking about the main guys. The main guys to me would be Mahomes, Peyton Manning, and Ben Roethlisberger because it could have been even more if it were not for Tom Brady. Those guys come to mind. You let me know who you think Tom Brady. If it weren't for Tom Brady, what quarterback or quarterbacks would have hit bigger and won more rings? Please hit like, subscribe, welcome thoughts, comments, and I do respond. Thank you. Wash your hands, keep your mind clear. Watch out for another. Share it if you like. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay woke, stay free. I'm at one time. Peace.